For the first time since 2007, the Decorah Viking volleyball team is in a regional final. They'll head to Western Dubuque on Tuesday night. We're with head coach Gina Holthaus. And coach, 28-6 season to this point. What's made this a successful group?
I think just the fact that they want to win and they want to play together, and they are an extremely unselfish group. It's fun to watch them get excited for each other, and they just keep working. That's the other thing about this group.
And I know you had a second place finish in the conference this year, only 6 losses all told this season as well. Was there a moment this season that you realized that, hey, things are clicking and we can do some pretty good things?
You know, early in the season, I thought we had the potential to have a decent season. I really did. I thought it was going to be a matter of how quickly we were able to fill holes that we lost to graduation. And I didn't know quite how it was all going to fit together. We had to move some people around a little bit, and I wasn't sure if everyone would accept roles. And I would say, about probably mid-season, it's like, this group is here. They want to compete. And I think just even, I go back to even the second match against St. Ansgar, we kind of had our backs to the wall a little bit, and they just kept fighting. And I think that's the key, is they don't stop. And that's kind of been their focal point all year. So it's just been a very rewarding group of girls to be around.
And I know there's been a few times due to some injury and other situations this year that you had to shuffle some people around in the lineup. And despite that, you were able to have success with other people having to accept different roles. Is that just kind of piggybacking on what you've said to this point?
I think so. I think, we were at a situation there where we were down 2 6 rotation players for a couple of weeks, 1 full week for sure. And we had some big matches that week. A 5-set match at Wakan that we have a sophomore setter on the floor who, like I said, had previously not even dressed in a varsity match. And the kids just rallied around her and made her feel comfortable. And, other kids Emma Wold had to step into a setting role, which is not something she's done a lot of at the varsity level this year. And just moving kids around. Ashley had to move to the strong side, and they just, again, they wanted to play together and they wanted to be successful, and they were able to do that. And I think a large part of that goes to these seniors, especially. They just keep working and they accept what happens, and this is where we're at. And we move forward. And so that was probably one of the more stressful weeks of the season, but it was also probably one of the more rewarding weeks of the season as well, just to see some of that youth step up. And I know at one point when we were at Wakan, I kind of looked at my assistants and said, this is kind of a free chance to look at next year's lineup that we weren't anticipating on a game floor. And it was kind of fun to see. So I guess with everything, there's positives and negatives. And we've just really tried, especially during that 10-day period, to just focus on the positives and move forward. So yeah, it was stressful.
And it's funny how that stressful and rewarding often goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yep, it absolutely does. And I think the kids felt it too. And it was just, we made a last minute decision the weekend before to go to Wakan and play in a tournament that the state gave us permission to play an extra date. And at the time, I was kind of second guessing myself. Maybe our kids needed rest. But as it turned out, that was probably the best coaching decision we made for the year, and just really rallied the kids together and made a big difference for them. So,
how confident is this group right now with the success that you have had to this point?
I think that the confidence that I saw on the floor on Thursday night was great. I loved the hustle. We touched balls that I was a little surprised we were able to get to. And I think a lot of it stems from they're just confident and they trust each other. That's the other thing. It was in the locker room before we even came out on Thursday. We just were talking about some different things. And one of our outside hitters made the comment that I know Dalen, I know my libero is going to cover me. If I get blocked, she's going to be there. And I thought that was huge, just for her to make that comment and know that, hey, if I don't do something perfect, my teammates are going to be there to cover me. And I think that's big. That's a big step. So we've got to go in, what we're going to talk again tonight about, we got to relax and play. I think we're capable. It's just how quickly we're able to just kind of relax and get in the game flow.
And I know you touched on this in an article with Jeff Linder of the Cedar Rapids Gazette earlier this year, kind of the evolution to where you're at right now kind of started 3 years ago. You had a win-loss record that didn't stand out definitely, but you had a group of seniors that were unselfish and started to lead and kind of set the tone building to where you're at right now. Explain that situation for the folks that didn't read that article.
Yep. So actually it was the class, it would have been the graduating class of 2020. So the fall of 2019. I believe we had 9 seniors that year. I should double check my numbers, but many of them were not necessarily in the flow or in the rotation of the varsity lineup. And they were absolutely some of the most positive kids I have ever had the opportunity to work with. They were on the bench, they were cheering, they were coming in my room at lunch or before school, and they're like, what do you think about this? Can we look at that? And they were seeing things and thinking about things that were so much bigger than the fact that I'm not on the floor and how come I'm not out there. And they really changed. Since I took over the program, one of my big things was we have to play as a team. We're a family. We have to treat each other that way. And as coaches, we've really, really been trying to push that. Just the idea that we got to take care of each other. And I think that group of seniors completely bought into that mentality. And I cannot say enough about that group. And they definitely changed the culture of what we are doing here. That just continued with last year's group. As I said, we were talking about it the other night. Last year's group of seniors, they just were so darn happy to have a volleyball season with COVID. That they 100% bought into, we have to take care of each other. You want us to wear masks at the football game, that's what we'll do. Whatever it was to make sure that we were taking care of each other, they did that. And so kind of the challenge was made to this group this fall, what are you going to do with that? And they've absolutely ran with it. So, and I think it goes back to what I just said a couple minutes ago with, Chloe, our outside hitter, saying, I know Dalen's going to cover me if I get blocked. I think that whole idea of we are all here together, we are all going to fight together. I think that message is resounding loudly with our girls right now, which is fantastic.
And the game coming up, the match coming up on Tuesday night, you head to the top-ranked team of Class 4A in Western Dubuque. I know you got a chance to see them at the Western Dubuque tournament. They got you in the tournament format 2-0. What did you take away from that first matchup to help you prepare for tomorrow night?
Well, the first thing is that was the week that we were down to 6 rotation players. And the first match was 21-16. Our first set. So we were definitely in the first set, minus, an outside hitter and minus our 5-1 setter. And so, at that tournament in particular, I really wish we could have gone to healthy because it would have been a really great idea or place to figure out where we were really at. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. They've got some big swingers and we've just got to be ready to block. I feel good about our back row and our digging. Just some things that we've done differently in practice in the last week or so, kind of focusing on getting ready for some big heavy swings. So, it's going to be a tough team. I mean, they're not ranked number 1 on a fluke. They're a good volleyball team, but I've always said you have to play the game, and that's been ingrained in me since I was very, very young. By my dad also coaching there's a reason why you play the game, and the reason is someone could beat you at any given point in time. And so we're just going to go in and give it our best shot.
All right, Coach, congrats on a great season to this point. And obviously, as you just said, they got to play the game tomorrow night. You're an underdog coming into that game. It's going to be a great challenge, but with great challenge comes great opportunity. We wish you best of luck, and hopefully we can have another conversation at the end of the week. Best of luck to you tomorrow night down in Epworth.
That'd be great. Thanks, Darren.
Gina Holthaus, head coach of the Decorah Vikings, getting set for the regional final Tuesday night down at Western Dubuque.